Hello and welcome to the Covert Nerd Podcast. Thank you for listening. It means a lot to me that you take the time out of your day to hear what I have to say. Great episode coming up with Tim, and I want to just preface that you can go to covertnerd.net and get the links for all of this episode and past episodes. You can download and subscribe on pretty much any app out there that you can find. So click on the link in the show notes for more information about this episode and how to contact me, how to contact Tim. Let me know what you think about these episodes. If you like them, don't like them, whatever topic you want to talk about in other episodes, let me know if there's something there you want to discuss. So without further ado, let's dive right in and nerd it up with Tim. Got Tim here from Rainbow Comics again. He's practically a co-host on here, but he is the comic book extraordinaire, and we're going to talk a little Stargirl. First off, tell us why Stargirl is just so amazing.
Stargirl is amazing for a few different reasons. My favorite reason is she's a legacy character. So a legacy character for, I use that term all the time. But for those of you who don't know, it means that she's not the first star person in continuity, and that's true for the comic, and it's also true for the TV show. So my familiarity with Stargirl is mostly from the comics, but I also finished season 1 of the show, and I absolutely love it. So we'll get. So
maybe spoilers. I guess we better warn you ahead of time.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely. I'm gonna spoil
all over it.
But I'm gonna make sure that you're gonna, even if you've not seen it, if I spoil it for you, you're gonna want to watch it. But Stargirl essentially is the most recent bearer of the title. Her name is Courtney Whitmore, but she's part of a legacy of multiple iterations of what up until now have been Starmans, not Starmen, because they're different versions of Starman. So there are multiples of Starman, which would be Starmans. If they were multiple at the same time, that would be Starmen.
Men, okay.
This is Starman.
I was going to correct you and say it was Starmen.
No.
But
It's definitely
okay.
Trust me, I have a master's in English. These are Starmans, different versions of Starman. But this is Stargirl. The staff that she carries was actually carried by Jack Knight, who was the previous Starman in the comics. In the TV show, it's Sylvester Pemberton. We'll get to him. But
and it's a cosmic staff.
It's a cosmic staff that was created by Jack's dad, Ted. Ted Knight created the technology for the cosmic staff, and he actually, when his dad, who was Starman during World War II, had the prototype was the staff, and he actually condensed it into a
kind of a scepter, wasn't it?
It was a cosmic. It was a cosmic rod. He had the cosmic rod and the gravity belt, and the gravity belt helped him fly, and the cosmic rod was a little wand that did basically what the staff does. And things happen in Starman. Like, I'm going to say this. There's a Starman run that was written by James Robinson with art primarily done by Tony Harris and Peter Snedberg. And it came out in when did it come out? I want to say maybe 97 to 2000, 2001, something like that. It might have been 95. I don't know the dates offhand. I can look them up. But there was a Starman run that spun out of the 0 Year event, I believe it was. Was it 0? Yeah. And because it started with Starman number 0. That comic going from Starman 0 all the way through Starman number 80 to include a bunch of annuals and one-shots and tie-ins, and even going up to the Blackest Night event that happened a few years ago. They did Starman 81 to Resurrect a Dead series.
Okay.
Starman is my favorite comic of all time. That's
saying a lot.
Like, I love comics, and I love Elephant Men is still my favorite comic that's currently published. But if you put a gun to my head and you ask me what my favorite comic book is, it is James Robinson's entire run on Starman.
Okay. And this is kind of a spin-off of that.
This very much like her legacy is Jack's legacy, is David's legacy, is Ted's legacy, is to the point where it's so much my favorite that I actually have been commissioning comic book artists to draw different iterations of star people. I'm currently waiting on Jan Duursema, who's a notable Star Wars artist. She did a lot of the like Clone Wars era Dark Horse stuff. She also did Star Wars Legacy, both of those with John Ostrander, by the way, which super good. But I'm waiting on her. She's doing a sketch for me of Stargirl.
So how many commissions do you have
right now?
Starman, Stargirl, I guess.
1, 2, 3, 4 and a half.
Let's for the show notes. I'll have to see if I can get some pictures. So
yeah,
we
I'll
can
get
put
them
them in
for
the
you.
show notes so everybody can see. But
I'll get them for you. My most recent is a Peach Momoko, and man, if any of my normal patrons for Rainbow Comics are listening, they know how much I love Peach Momoko.
Yes.
But yeah, I also had another piece done from a supporting character of Starman that was done by Kaylin Smith. And anytime I get a chance to promote Kaylin Smith's work, I do it.
She's super nice.
Yeah, she just finished her Kickstarter. I can't push it, so my bad. But no,
We'll put a link to her information in the show notes. Check her out if you haven't heard of her.
I love her. I love her so much. Anyway, Stargirl. She's great. Yes. Are we done?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask, okay, so she's kind of a spin-off of Starman. Now, real quick, Starman, though, got started way back in the 50s? Or Starman in the 40s even. Well, I know her kind of suit or costume was based on the Star-Spangled Kid, which was back in 1941. I did a little homework on that, and I'll include some links in the show notes for some of the art. And you can tell it just screams 40s, golden age type of artwork and punching Nazis and all sorts of things. But that's kind of where her outfit, I guess, kind of came from.
Ted Knight, who was the first Starman, made his first appearance in Adventure Comics number 61 in April of 1941.
Okay, so this all the Star-Spangled Kid, Stripesy or whatever, all that was in that era. Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like legit original JSA good stuff. And James Robinson's run on Starman took every character who's ever borne the name Starman and put them all together. Like when we think of Green Lantern, we think of like Hal Jordan or the Green Lantern Corps. What we don't ever think of really, and I'm speaking generally, like there's comic book fans who are like, you're absolutely crazy. But before Hal Jordan existed in like the 60s, 70s, there was Alan Scott was Green Lantern, and he was completely different. Same with, if we look at a lot of the JSA heroes like the Flash and Mr. Terrific, around the Silver Age of comics, like the 60s and 70s, DC made a push to reinvent all of their characters and really went for a sci-fi take instead of like a mystical take or a strongman take. So we ended up getting a couple different cosmic versions of Starman who don't carry the Knight family name, like Ted Knight, David Knight, Jack Knight, and even Courtney Whitmore to an extent. She's not related to the Knights at all, but she's earned the right to be Stargirl. So there's some really cool stuff about Legacy, and you'll hear me if we ever do a whole episode on Starman, the thing that you will hear me say ad nauseum is legacy, and that carries over into themes in Stargirl herself.
That's interesting.
But yeah, we're looking at a character that goes all the way back to the 40s, and for some reason, it's a show here in 2020. And we're talking about it, and it's relevant, and that's super duper cool to me.
Well, I just love the idea that the versions of, like you said, Green Lantern, Starman, all that are actually reboots of the characters from the 40s. So it's just interesting that now we're hearing it or seeing it all again to a whole new audience that has no idea, where this all came from.
There's going to be so many people who are far younger than I am who will not care that any star person existed before Courtney. And that's fine. They don't have to. That's completely fine. But there's going to be those of us old people who are sitting in the corner like, back in my day.
Yeah. Back in the 90s.
Starman was a man.
Yes. So she makes her first, Courtney makes her first appearance back in 99.
No, 97.
Oh, was it 97?
I believe it was 97.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she showed up in Stars and Stripe #1. And the only reason I know it was 97 is because she was created by Geoff Johns, who is one of the big wigs over at DC now, one of the best comic book writers of this generation. But one of the things that very much affected Geoff Johns was the loss of his sister. She died in 1996 in a plane crash, and her name was Courtney Elizabeth Johns. And so when he first got his writing gig at DC, they allowed him to revamp Stripesy and the Star Spangled Kid. And the first thing he did was make the Star Spangled Kid a girl, and he named her Courtney Elizabeth Whitmore as a tribute to his sister passing, because his sister, I believe, had just graduated high school.
Yeah,
maybe.
I remember in the article it said she was getting ready to go to college. So.
Yeah, I think she was like 17 or 18 when she died, and that just was something that just stuck with Geoff Johns, and he thought, if he could just write a comic and celebrate her legacy that way. And now, she's a TV star, and it's kind of, it's tragic, and it's very, very sad. But it's very neat and kind of amazing that on some level, just something he did to honor his sister and to do a little gig at a comic book as a comic book is now, you can
a TV show.
Go watch it on TV, and people will dress up as her now, and it's kind of cool.
Did you read the comic first? The one in 97 and then the show? Well, obviously you read the show or watched the show later, but
I watched. Yeah, I didn't. I've been aware of Stargirl, mostly in relation to Starman. Okay. For a long time, Stars and Stripe was out of print, and then a couple of years ago, DC reprinted it into 2 trades. And I owned the first trade and just never got around to reading it. And then just around the time the show came out, they actually released another trade that I currently have at Rainbow Comics that actually has the entirety of the Stars and Stripes series, which was issues 0 through 14. And then it also has JSA All-Stars #4, which is where she officially adopts the name Stargirl. So I had read her in... she makes some very... very brief appearances in the James Robinson Starman run, but then reading Geoff Johns' run on JSA, which I very much recommend. She was a major player in that. She was a big player in the, what was the New 52 book? Justice League of America.
Justice League. Oh, gosh. It was this one, the New 52.
Yeah, Justice League of America. That was written by Johns again. And Dave Finch did at least the first arc on that. And Dave, anytime I can see Dave Finch draw anybody,
he's got a very kind of dark, gritty style.
Yeah,
maybe I don't know how you describe it.
I first saw his work on Bendis's New Avengers, and to this day, he's still just one of the greatest superhero artists, I believe. But he is very, very gritty. But to see, like, even Courtney can't keep his art style gritty. You can't help but like Jay Lee couldn't make her gloomy because she's just a ray of sunshine. Like anytime she's down, you like your heart breaks and you just like my big brother instinct
give
kicks
her a hug.
in, and I need to protect her from all of the bad things in the world. It's
her first the first run, Stars and Stripe, is just a fun, quirky book.
Yeah, it's
pretty lighthearted.
It's an all ages book, and it's about a girl trying to learn to live with her new stepdad in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, and
Blue Valley,
Nebraska, home of Wally West. So there's a thing. But Blue Valley, Nebraska, also where the show takes place. I was watching the show with my girlfriend, and we decided that if Blue Valley existed, it would probably be close to Grand Island, but probably the size of Omaha.
Yeah. That's funny.
It does. There's no such place as Blue Valley, Nebraska. There is a Blue Valley in Nebraska, but it's a literal valley. It's not
There's
a
no
city.
town.
But yeah, the crux of it is just a girl trying to figure out her identity. She doesn't know her dad. Her stepdad and her don't have the best relationship, and then they bond over crime fighting.
Yep,
basically
superheroes, being superheroes.
Superheroing.
Because she finds the Star Spangled Kid's suit, which has the belt, and then he has his I don't forget what the robot, the Stripe. I forgot what
Stripe
it stands for.
Oh yeah, it's something in the show. The Star Spangled Kid, the original one, Sylvester Pemberton, in the comics, he grows up to be Skyman. In the show, the Star Spangled Kid grows up to be Starman, devoid of the legacy in the comics. Sylvester Pemberton was never Starman. That's important. So, Lee, do I now have to get Sylvester Pemberton drawn as Starman for my collection?
You might have to.
I need to figure that out, because technically in the comics he wasn't, but in the show he was, and I do love the show. But in the
Anyway.
I digress. In the show though, Starman, she believes that Sylvester Pemberton is her dad, is her biological father, and she gets the staff. She finds the staff with his things, and the staff only ever responded to Sylvester Pemberton. And here it is, it's responding to her. So she's like, oh, it only responded to him. I must be his daughter. And so she then decides that she is Stargirl to celebrate Starman's legacy. And her stepfather, Stripesy, is like, I don't think Starman was your dad, because he was Starman's sidekick, basically. Which is, excuse me if I'm rambling. I apologize. Also in Blue Valley, in the world of the TV show, not the comic, but the world of the TV show, that's where the JSA was based. Like big round table, it says Justice Society of America. So she goes there with her dad, because her dad is showing her what the JSA used to be, and this is what heroism is. And 10 years ago, there was a massive attack, and Stripesy and Rex Tyler are the only people who lived, and Rex Tyler is our man. So she ends up breaking in to steal a whole bunch of JSA artifacts. So she's got the Green Lantern. She's got Dr. Midnight's goggles. She's got, I think she might have the Helmet of Fate. She's got a whole bunch of other stuff. It's alluded to that she's got the pen that has the genie in it.
Oh, wow! They're really going.
They really go all
school
out. And so, like, the B plot throughout the show. So the A plot is Courtney being Stargirl. The B plot is Courtney going to high school. Now, stay with me.
Okay, hang on, folks.
This is not your 90210 high school. This is your Buffy high school. I love all of these kids. I love them all. They're all very good. Throughout the course of the show, she makes new friends, and those friends are outcasts and misfits. She recruits those kids to be the new JSA. So there's a girl at school who's been ostracized because photos of her were leaked, and she blames somebody, and it wasn't. This whole drama thing, but she's really tough, and she ends up getting Wildcat's old gear. And when she puts on Wildcat's gear, she actually gets a boost to her super strength. There's a bookwormy person who's very introverted, and she gets Dr. Midnight's goggles, and it actually has like an AI in there, kind of like Jarvis. And so she ends up bonding with this little AI, and you really get to see her grow and become more assertive. And then we've got a Dr. Fate, and there's a bunch of teases for the future of the show with more JSA people. And we get flashbacks to 10, 15 years ago when the JSA was active. And here's the most believable part of the show, is the entire town of Blue Valley is secretly run by the Injustice Society. It is like the principal of the school, like the mayor, like there's a senator in Nebraska who's based out of Blue Valley, and they're all these D-level DC villains. And and complete with like the ridiculously flowery get-ups.
They're really over the top.
Like the magician is in this, and it's so dumb. One of the major villains is Icicle, and like you and I laugh because it's a little ridiculous. But when you watch the show, you believe it. Like you're very, very invested, and it feels very dangerous. And there's kids in the high school who die. Like there's death in the show, and they have to deal with it. But it's very, very smart. It makes me question the longevity of the show, because I don't know, like when you go to pitch a show, I don't know if I brought this up or not, but when you pitch a show to a network, you have a detailed idea of your first season, and then you give them your ideas for seasons 2 and 3, because usually by the time you get to about season 3, you could potentially hit 100 episodes, and once you hit 100 episodes, you're in syndication.
Yep.
So the whole idea is we want to make sure we can get to 100 episodes. So I don't know realistically what the legs on the show will be if it takes place in a small town in Nebraska and it's run by these supervillains and we already know about them and we're taking them down. But that's, inside baseball. But I'm very, very curious about it.
I love the idea of pulling from this old stuff that's just been sitting in mothballs, so to speak, for 30 years or more and resurrecting it for a new audience. I mean, why not?
Well, you can only watch the same character so many times. Like Captain Boomerang, sure. I mean, like we see him in the movies, like he's been in the TV shows, like it's okay. Or I don't want to see the Joker and the Riddler and the Penguin, and I don't need to see 10 million different versions of them. Show me Icicle, show me the Magician, show me, like, maybe they'll bring in Crazy Quilt. I don't know. That actually would be the most Nebraska villain I could think of.
What is it again? Sorry.
Crazy Quilt?
Crazy Quilt.
Yeah.
I don't recognize.
Don't worry about it. It's a thing.
Okay.
I'd rank him down there with the Condiment King.
Calendar Man.
We don't talk bad about Calendar Man. Go read The Long Halloween, then we'll talk about Calendar Man.
Good point.
But no, what's really fun is I'd say your general everyman comic book reader, right? Like Joe Schmo, Jane Schmo coming in, just reads Batman, X-Men, whatever. They're not going to be as familiar as I am with Dr. Midnight and Wildcat and Stargirl and all of this stuff. They're not going to know. And again, the Green Lantern that's in the show is Alan Scott's Green Lantern. This isn't the Green Lantern from Oa. This has no ties to a Green Lantern Corps. It's so conceptually different. We also saw the helmet of the Flash.
The Flash.
The
okay.
golden. I can't think of his name. Oh my
gosh,
gosh,
the one from the
Jay Garrick.
There you go.
Jay Garrick. We see Jay Garrick's helmet, and I know his powers didn't come from the helmet.
So if you see that and you're like, oh my gosh, but somebody else sees that, like I don't know what you're talking about.
What's great too is in the room where the JSA stuff is, you see like there's little pillars, and on that, let's say there's a pillar, and on the pillar is a pillow, and on top of the pillow is like Green Lantern's ring. Behind that is a giant banner hanging from the ceiling, and it definitely, I'm not sure, it's been a hot second since I've seen the show, but my brain remembers it as like an Alex Ross painting of Alan Scott.
Nice.
And so behind Jay Garrick's is like those, you've seen Alex Ross do.
Oh yeah,
he's
Kingdom
doing something
Come stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing something very similar right now at Marvel with their timeless variants, but it's kind of like that, but with a black background, and you see all of the JSA people rendered in like this Alex Ross looking
painting.
So
it blew your mind.
It's so good. Speaking of obscure characters in Stargirl, Shining Knight.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Shining Knight is a massive character in this show, like to the point where I was thinking maybe he's her dad.
Explain Shining Knight, because I have no idea.
I cannot explain Shining Knight. The best thing I could do is, King Arthur has knights.
Oh, I think I know. He looks like Dirk the Daring from the Dragon's Lair video game or something. Yeah, he has a helmet, that kind of round helmet.
Only he has maybe gone a little crazy.
Because he was in, I think, the Justice League cartoon.
Yes, for that one episode that had everybody with no powers.
Uh-huh.
Yes, it's super good.
Now I know who you're talking about.
In this, he's kind of lost his mind. He's got a scraggly beard. He's this high school janitor. And you find out that Stripesy used to be one of the 7 soldiers of victory. And one of the people, so it was Stripesy and Shining Knight and Green Arrow. And there's actually a picture of the 7 soldiers. And it is the most Silver Age thing. Like, Green Arrow has get the baby face with the poofy green jacket and the yellow hat. And it's so great. And it's something that, again, we're in 2020 and we're talking about the 7 Soldiers of Victory, which was a comic in the 50s. And it's so great. It's so cool. And I'm absolutely in love with it. Well, and I'm not even talking about Stargirl. I apologize.
Stripesy alone, is in the 40s. And does it explain in the TV show why she has the Star Spangled Kids uniform, which is very, very World War II-ish?
Yeah. Well, in episode 1 of the show, we see Sylvester Pemberton's Starman, and he's basically wearing a version of what we see her wearing, but it's white, and there's no mask. There's white pieces all over it, and she's basically like, I'm not wearing this, and she alters it, but it's in the crate with the staff, which, by the way, I need that staff.
Okay.
I need it.
Speaking of the staff, so the Star Spangled Kid's belt gave him powers. Does she in the show, because I've never watched it, does she have get powers from the belt and the staff?
The belt has no powers in the show. In the show, all of the powers come from the staff, and the staff may or may not have its own personality, which is super cool.
So a symbiote type?
Maybe, but it's confirmed in the show that the staff was created by Ted Knight. They said Ted Knight's name, and I freaked out, and my girlfriend told me to hush.
Question then, could somebody watch the TV show and have absolutely no comic book background whatsoever?
Absolutely. 100%. In fact, I would say if all you know is the TV show, be very careful transitioning over to the comics, because what you know in the show is not going to be true for the comics. And the same thing, I'm a fan of the legacy of this character. I'm a Stargirl fan. I'm a Starman fan. I love all of that. So when the show came out, I was super nervous because I was like, I don't need it to be a beat for beat adaptation, but I need recognition that the stuff I like matters to some extent. And I got that completely. Within the first 15 minutes of the first episode of the show, I was like, oh, we're safe. We're good. They completely reverently hold the Knights up to a place where they ought to be. By Knights, I mean Ted Knight and his sons, David and Jack. To the extent where one of the biggest supporting characters in the Starman comics is the Shade, who... when Ted, the original Starman, was Starman, his arch rival was the Shade. And in the comics, that was in the 40s, and the comics take place in the 90s, and the Shade's basically immortal. And he's like, I'm kind of done being a bad guy. I'm bored with it. I'm going to try being a good guy. And he ends up being one of the major supporting players. So here's your big spoiler warning for the end of Stargirl Season 1. There's a post-credits scene. And we don't see him specifically, but there's a little bit of a cloud and a little bit of a blur. And oh my gosh, you guys, Season 2's been confirmed. It's going, I don't remember, I think it's a CW exclusive because the DC Universe app is going away. But Season 2 is happening, and we're getting the Shade, and oh my gosh.
Did your girlfriend have to tell you to be quiet?
Yes. Also, awesome. Here's a fun thing too. 2 of the main writers on the Stargirl TV show, maybe you've heard of them, Geoff Johns, James Robinson. So the people who made me fall in love with these characters are so integral to the show. They have producing credits. In TV, when you have a producing credit, that basically means you're one of the staff writers. You're in charge of those scripts. It's different than being a producer on a movie. Every single script is going through Geoff Johns' hands, and he created Courtney, and every script is also going through James Robinson's hands. He created the legacy of Starman. And so as a fan of the comics and as a fan of the show, I am so completely, it's like a blanket. And I know even if something horrific happens, it's going to be great.
Well, that's probably why it's so good, because Geoff Johns is in there writing it, producing it, the same guy that created the comic book and created the character, I mean. So that makes a big difference on why it's probably so good.
I think so, and I don't believe that in order for things to be good, we absolutely have to have somebody who's related to the source material.
Not necessarily,
but because that could be a double-edged sword. Because you have somebody who's too married to the material, you run the risk of it being too pandering. And what we have here is people, because James Robinson has written movies and TV shows before. So has Geoff Johns. They've written stuff outside of that. So they're two people who know how to tell a story in this medium, and they understand the difference between television and comics. Yeah. And those are very, very important distinctions to have. Their goal is not to make a good Stargirl show. Their goal is to make a good show that has Stargirl in it. And I think that's a very important distinction, because we're not looking at a direct adaptation of Stars and Stripe. We're not looking at a direct adaptation of JSA. We're not looking at anything. We're not doing a one-to-one with the comics. But what you will find is Shiv, her nemesis in Stars and Stripe, is her nemesis in the show. You will see her relationship with her dad is very, very reminiscent of what happened. Her stepdad, excuse me. Her relationship with Pat is very much reflected as it is in the comics, but it's set in a modern day, because the world of 2020 and the world of 1995 are very different. And Geoff Johns as a storyteller has grown. And Courtney Whitmore as a concept and a character and a legacy has grown. And so even now, if we had, when Courtney shows up in something, we assume that it's still the same Courtney from all these older stories, but a 17, 18-year-old girl in the New 52 is fundamentally going to be different from the 16-year-old girl who was portrayed in 1995, 1997, what have you. And it's interesting to me. Like, how do you in the fluid continuity of comics, how do you make that believable? How do you continue to make me believe that this teenager, who in reality hasn't aged all that much in 23 years, she's maybe a year or two older than when we last saw her.
She might be 17 now.
Yeah, exactly. And how can you write her believably now and still make me believe that this is the same person? And I honestly believe that the writing team and the actress who plays Stargirl is just completely believable. It's so very real. Like, all right, look, I'm 37, and we're talking about a girl who's this is a woman portraying a young girl. So when I say I'm in love with Stargirl, I'm platonically in love with the concept of the character. Watching the show, I believe in Courtney Whitmore as a high schooler. I believe in the problems that she runs into. I believe in the outlandish, silly idea of supervillains running this podunk town to try to take over the world. I believe in all of this stuff because I want to, because Courtney needs me to believe in her, because she is so good. She's just such, and not to say that she's above flaws. Sure. She definitely makes mistakes, and as you see her make mistakes, you're like, oh no, why would you do that? And you just want nothing but for her to succeed, and she pulls herself up. You see her at a very low point in the show. She pulls herself out of it, and you feel like this weird sense of pride for this fictional character. Who's just trying as hard as she possibly can. Is she just, even if she's wrong, she wants to see it through to the end. Like, everybody tells her Sylvester Pemberton is not your father. And you get a definite answer in the show in the first season as to whether or not he is. I will not say it here because, I have a modicum of power. But yeah, no, I'm absolutely in love with how the story is being told in a new medium. I think that this is a show that I think parents should watch it first. Okay. But if you have, let's say, a younger teen, like, you know, if we're looking at, like, I'd say tween to teen, this might be a show to watch with your daughter. I think there are some themes in it that are a little bit more mature, but this versus something like, I would never recommend Arrow to watch with your kids. Not that it's a bad show, but it's a little intense. Flash, maybe. Supergirl, a little bit, maybe. But I think Stargirl, if you have a kid who's like interested in superheroes, or you want to be able to show them something about superheroes, and you don't think that maybe they're quite ready for something like Guardians of the Galaxy or Captain America, Stargirl's a great show. And again, I'm 37. I don't have kids. I look forward to this show when it's coming out.
And you like the dynamic between the stepfather and her.
I am a sucker. You know this about me, Lee. I am a sucker for any good dad story. It's one of my very favorite things. And again, you guys, legacy. And it's about Stargirl understanding what it means to be Courtney Whitmore. And it's about Stargirl understanding what it means to be a star person, and it's about Stargirl trying to understand what it means to uphold the JSA and how to be an adult in this weird community, and how to learn to trust people in a world where you shouldn't be trusting people. And it's very good. It's kind of surface level on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's an entry level for people who maybe don't think about that stuff in relationship to superheroes, and it's a very good doorway into a bigger concept.
Stripe, it stands for Special Tactics Robot Integrated Power Enhancer. This is basically an Iron Man suit for...
Yeah, and I don't remember, in the comics, I don't know if they go into it, but in the show, since he's a mechanic, he built the Stripe thing out of old hot rods.
Oh, I don't think I remember catching that in the comic book. Okay.
It's very fun.
I remember there was this in the comic book, they talk about him restoring an old car. The old Starman, David Knight, I think, asked him about that. The dad of the Starman said, "Hey,
Ted.
Ted, did you finish restoring that, 1949 whatever or something?" He's like, "I haven't gotten to that yet."
Oh, it's so good. I absolutely love this. Also, her parents in the show are played by Amy Smart plays her mom, and Pat is played by Luke Wilson. Oh, yeah. And so we've got some pedigree actors in there. Like, Amy Smart has just been in everything forever, and it's kind of fun to see her be like the lightning rod in the show. And then to have like Luke Wilson, everybody knows who Luke Wilson is. And he is, there's sometimes where you see like an actor in a superhero show and they kind of phone it in or whatever, but he is here for it. I completely believe him. He's one of my absolute favorite touchstones in the show. It's one of those things where the Little Mermaid, everybody talks about, how you're getting older when you start to relate to Triton a little bit more, where she's like, I'm 16 years old, I'm not a child anymore. And you're like, yes, you are a child. Oh my gosh. Yes. And I'm finding myself there with Pat, and I'm very much on Pat's side for a lot of this stuff. He's like, you are 16, you should not be out there doing this. And it finally gets to the point where he's like, all right, look, if you're going to do this, I'm going to be there. Like, I'm going to at least make sure. It gets to the point where she gets beaten up by a bad guy pretty early in season 1, and he takes his car. I think it's the same car you were talking about him building in the comics. He goes out at night and wrecks the car. And he deliberately wrecks it so he can take her to the hospital and be like, she's beat up, like she's got all these bruises because she was in a
car wreck. Oh, okay, yeah. I see. Well, speaking to the cosmic staff, I guess explain some of the powers, or I guess what it can do, what it can't do.
It's very
lets her fly. I know that.
It's in the comics. Because again, I mostly know it from the Starman comics. It's very bright. I know that sounds silly. Yeah, that's why he's got goggles. He wears a leather jacket and the goggles and all that. It's bright. It shoots energy blasts. I believe it gets to a point where it encases him. So like when he's flying,
like an energy shield,
and I think he can breathe in space. I don't remember. In the show, it's semi-intelligent. We don't know for sure, but it can fly, and it can even, like, she's a gymnast in the show. It gets to the point where it can like fly above her head and then stop, and she can use it as a uneven bars. I'm not sure, what do you call those? Like, yeah, uneven bars are like a seahorse.
Sawhorse.
Sawhorse.
That's the Ariel reference.
Yeah, exactly. But she'll do her gymnastics off of the staff, and it doesn't move at all. And then once she's done, she'll just grab it and whip it around. It's a lot like Thor with his hammer. Exactly. So it's basically, at this point in the show, it hasn't been well defined, and I think that's on purpose. We know it was created by Ted. We know that it seems to have some kind of a personality, and it has a bond with her that's somewhat investigated in the show, but never gone into great detail.
Kind of like in Avengers, in the movie with Doctor Strange's cape.
Yes,
kind of
a lot like
him.
that. Exactly. It's very similar to that. So she'll be asleep, and then you'll hear she'll wake up to a tap on her window, and she'll open up her curtains, and the staff will just be floating out there. And it's like, come on, let's go. And she'll sit on it like she does.
I've seen that as like a surfboard type
kind
thing.
of. She'll either use it like a surfboard, or she'll ride on it like kind of like a bombshell thing, where she'll like sit on it like it's really cool. I don't know how to describe it because I am bad at visual metaphor.
Well, now I assume obviously she doesn't have the staff, then she doesn't have any powers, or is there any like residual energy that she still gets? Like Thor gets a certain amount of time, I think.
No, her powers are her powers are very much tied to the staff. If she doesn't have the staff, she's left to her wits.
Yeah, because the belt has no power in this.
No, in this the belt doesn't have
TV
a power.
show, but in the comic book it gives.
In the comics it does, but also Jack loses that pretty early. So when he's Starman, he definitely loses that. Man, there's a whole thing. One day we'll talk about Starman.
Yeah. This is Stargirl, not Starman.
Stargirl, yeah.
But the bottom line is, watch it on CW, check it out, and then buy the comic book.
Yeah,
check that out.
Come talk to me. If you want to know where to start, I'll either point you at Stars and Stripe. If you're not interested in that and you want to read some just really good superhero stuff, I can't recommend Geoff Johns' run on JSA enough. It's completely finished. He actually co-wrote the first few issues of that with James Robinson, and that very much, it starts with Jack on the team, and then Courtney's introduced, and Jack basically gives her the staff, and he's like, "You're Stargirl. Like, just you carry on my list."
So you talked about they did some flashbacks with the JSA. Would you like to see maybe 2 episodes, 3 episodes showing what happened to the JSA, a little more detail? Or
we get if the A plot is Stargirl and the B plot is Courtney in high school, the C plot is the villains. The D plot is JSA. So we get a healthy dose of the JSA. There actually is an episode dedicated to what happened to the JSA.
So they've already done that.
And there's a lot of exposition that goes into it, to the point where there's specific episodes that are named after characters, and we learn about their legacy and their history. And I would absolutely love to see more of that.
Could that be a spin-off series? Do you think that would have some legs of just the JSA?
It could. I don't know, because they're all dead. So I can't say no, because who knows? This is a world where the Spectre exists, and it's very possible that we could just get mass resurrection, or they didn't die, they got shifted over to Earth 742.
I just meant like a TV show. Do you think they could do it?
I'm down for it.
Would you be down for that?
I'll take it. Like, give it to me on HBO Max. Even just give me like a 6-episode thing. I'll watch
like
it.
A 6-parter.
We are living in great times for nerd stuff. Like, we've got The Mandalorian, which I know my buddy Casey hasn't even watched season 1 of The Mandalorian yet.
Really?
So yeah, he just hasn't even watched it. I know the trailer for season 2 is out. He's running out of time, and he's the least cool person on the planet. So.
How can you not?
I don't know.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, all Netflix and CW, everybody's looking for content, so why not? And I wonder, do you know, I guess, background on Geoff Johns? Did he approach the CW or did CW approach him?
I know that this has been in the works for a while. I know that in the early days of Arrow, they were talking about doing a Starman show. And I know that this has been existing in some form for a long time. But I also know that Geoff Johns has been a writer on the CW shows for a long time, even going back to season 1 of Arrow. He wrote at least 1 or 2 episodes in that first season. He's been very hands-on with all of this stuff. So my guess is it's at this point, it doesn't really matter who approached whom. Yeah, I think it's just kind of been in the ether. And it seemed like with the launch of the DC Universe app this last year, it seemed like a good time to introduce the concept. Yeah, and it seems to have been successful.
Renewed for another season.
Renewed for another season. It's since the DC Universe platform no longer exists, it is going to go over to the CW. And I'll be curious if that change of platform affects the quality of the show. I will say, from a strict, I'm going to go film nerd on you for a minute. The look of season 1 is very cinematic. It doesn't look like a TV show. It feels like you're watching a movie, like a mini movie every single episode. The production quality is very good. To the point, though, where when Stripe moves, it's very, they have a model, like a life-size model of Stripe. So when he's just, parked, they can be in front of him. That thing's massive. It's so cool. But when it's moving, it's CG, and the CG budget doesn't quite match the production budget. So there's a suspension of disbelief that's kind of required when you see Stripe do, the little rocket punch, and his fist comes off. And it looks great for what it is, but it's not going to be in 2 years we'll watch it and be like, oh, this looks rough. Okay. But the CG is minimal. Stripe isn't. We're with Pat more than we're with Stripe, and when we're with Stripe, there's a lot of. They use the Tony Stark thing where we'll see a lot of his head. Okay. And we'll see the heads up display, and we don't necessarily see the armor. And it's very well paced, but it looks unlike any of the other CW shows, and it ought to, because it's the only one that I'm aware of that's actually set on a different Earth outside of maybe Lucifer.
Okay, so you're not going to see a Arrow Supergirl crossover, probably.
Stargirl.
Or, I mean Arrow Supergirl crossover with Stargirl.
We might. Yeah, because after the Crisis on Infinite Earths, the CW shows all take place on the same Earth. And again, I don't know how that works with Lucifer because that's on Netflix, and I know he was in the crossover.
Yeah, they probably really don't need to. It's just kind of fun to think about. It doesn't matter. They got enough to pull from.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Anything.
For sure. It's super fun. But yes, no, for right now, Stargirl is separate. So the Green Arrow that exists in her world, while Oliver Queen, is not the Oliver Queen that we know from Arrow. So does that make sense? Yes. Cool.
Check out Stargirl. How can we get a hold of you, Tim, if they want to disagree with you?
If you want to disagree with me, I don't want to hear it. No, it's fine. I'm on Twitter sometimes. I'm at MOTHEE is my Twitter handle. If you want to just argue with me, that's a good place to argue with me. People don't, because I'm always right. I've never been challenged, so I must be correct in everything I've said. If you want to buy comics, I work at Rainbow Comics. I run it in Lincoln, Nebraska. That's where we are right now. But it's at 1501 Pine Lake Road, Suite 17 in Lincoln, Nebraska. We're right in between Juice Stop and a nail salon. So that's pretty fun. If you wanted to call and see if we've got anything in stock at the store, the phone number for the store is 402-975-8332. Or if you want to, you can like us on Facebook at Rainbow Comics Lincoln. There is another Rainbow Comics in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. That's the same owner. I don't work at that one. I work at the one in Lincoln, Nebraska. So you can always give us a like on there, shoot us a message. I will 100% see it and get back in touch with you.
So if you want to disagree with him there, you can go there too.
Yeah, but why would they
But
want to
why would you
disagree
want
with me?
to?
I am so correct
Yes.
all the time, Lee.
Yes.
All the time.
Proven to be right 99.999% of the time.
I've never been proven to be wrong.
All right. Well, thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. We'll have to do maybe a Starman episode.
Oh, that's going to
Then
be
you
my
get
new
really-
white whale.
All right. Well, thanks, Tim. Appreciate it. Always a good time to talk with Tim. He's so passionate about any subject. You can go to covertnerd.net to contact me and find out all the different ways you can reach out to me and let me know what you think about the episode. And thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. And until next time, nerd it up.